Hi, and welcome back to the Easy Do-It-Yourself Landscaping channel, where we give you step-by-step instructions on how to install and maintain beautiful landscaping projects in your yard. If you like that kind of content, please be sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video. We have a lot of videos out on a lot of different subjects, and hopefully they're helpful to you. I also want to take a second to thank our subscribers that we have now. I really appreciate the support, and also the people who have liked the videos. That really means a lot. Be sure and stick around to the end of the video where we give you a bonus easy do-it-yourself landscaping tip. But that'll be really helpful for you. So in this video, we're going to cover how to lay out plants in a do-it-yourself landscaping design. It's real important that you get your plants laid out properly, because you don't want to crowd plants in. You don't want to put plants in the wrong place, like direct sunlight if they're needing shade and things like that. You also want things to look even and laid out properly. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that. So in this particular landscape project that I did a few months ago, I wanted to have this area where I had something very low in the front. I wanted to have something medium in the back, and then something real tall in the back to kind of be a backdrop for that. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to put in these creeping phloxes here that flower during the spring, and they make a real nice, pretty green plant during the summertime. And so these only get about 8 to 10 inches tall. They spread out so they grow together and make this nice little color mosaic here, but they don't get very high. And so you want to put plants to where they kind of step up. You want to have smaller plants in the front, medium plants in the middle, and the taller plants in the back. That way you're not covering up something. Because I've seen that before. I've done that before, where I've made mistakes and planted something that's going to get too big in front of something that's going to stay small, and I've had to, make adjustments and move that. And you really don't want to have to do that. So, so in this area, I put in these. These only get, like I said, maximum about 10 inches tall. They stay low. And then behind that, I've got these azaleas. These are the dwarf version of azaleas. These only get up about 4 feet tall. 4.5 feet tall, and they'll grow together. Now you got to look at, in addition to the height, you got to look at how wide plants get, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips on that in a minute. But I wanted to make sure I had the azaleas that are going to be not too tall, but kind of grow together and make nice color in that area during the summertime. And then behind that, I planted the arborvitaes because they get about 12 feet tall. They're a nice looking cedar plant, and they'll get about 4 feet wide each. So they'll kind of almost grow together, but they'll make a real nice backdrop in that area. So I've got small, then I step up to medium, and then I go to tall. And that's going to be really nice once that grows. You got to look at, when you do a landscape design, you don't really want to look at what it looks like the first year or two, because things aren't mature, they haven't grown to their maximum height, width, things like that. You want to look at what it's going to look like 5 or 6 years down the road, because that's what you're aiming for, is how is this going to look 5 or 6 years down the road. Because if you get plants that fit together closely the first year or two, then when you get 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, they're going to be crowding into each other. It's just not going to look right. So the best way to do that is with the little fact cards that come with the plants from the nursery. And so I have the examples of these here so that I could share that with you. So on these fact cards, they're really good to have. And when I get done with doing my landscape projects, I actually put all of the fact cards for all the plants that I planted in a folder, and I hold on to that. That way I can refer to it later. And if for some reason I have to replace a plant that didn't make it, one that was unhealthy or something when I planted it, then I'll have the actual fact card so I can make sure I get that exact same color and type of plant, because even with these, there's like 6 or 8 different colors of these. This is 2 examples, but if I had to replace one of these to get them exact, I have the fact card that came with it so that I can make sure I get it exact, because this Scarlet Flame, these are the Scarlet Flames here, and so there's another one that's kind of a red color that looks almost like that, and if I didn't have this and I was trying to go from memory at the nursery, then I might pick the wrong one. So the fact cards are real good to hold on to in a folder for down the road. So that's a little quick tip. So yeah, if you look at the fact card on here, it'll tell you how much water that it needs. The cold hardiness, that's another good thing to know. I'm in zone 7A here in the Atlanta area. And the numbers go up as you go south, they go down as you go north. So like South Florida is 9 and things like that. You want to look at how cold it gets in your area, typically in a wintertime, and how cold it can get in your area, because even if you have a winter that's usually fairly mild, say it didn't get below 20 degrees normally, but every once in a while you have those negative numbers, or 0, things like that. You want to go by these fact cards and make sure you pick a plant that's going to be able to handle that extreme cold, because that will kill, even if it gets down to 0 for a couple of days, that could kill the plant, even though you've been in the 30s all the rest of the winter. So that's another good thing to remember, is look at the fact card and buy plants for the maximum number of cold that you get. In this case, these are good down to -40 to -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Coldest I've ever seen in Atlanta was about 40 years ago. It got down to -16 one day. So I'm safe with these plants no matter how cold it gets. We're not going to get down to -40 or -50 unless there's some ice age or something that happens. And by then I won't be here because I'm an old guy already. And then the mature plant height, there again, these get about 8 inches tall and 10 to 12 inches wide. I wanted them to grow together like this. When I first planted these, there was a space of about 4 or 5 inches all the way around every one of these. There were individual plants that didn't fill this whole space in. And I planted these at the end of last year, and now they've already grown together. And they've grown to about the maximum width they're going to get, but I wanted them to grow together so that you get this kind of effect where the flowers are kind of intermingling a little bit. So that's exactly the effect that I wanted and the effect that I ended up with. So these are a mature width and height, and so they're just going to bloom every year and make this real beautiful mosaic of colors right here. So then on the azaleas, there again, they're hardy in zones 6A through 10. So I'm in 7A, so that's safe. And they're the dwarf variety, so they're only going to get about 4 feet high and about 4 feet wide. So that's perfect. I've still got spaces in here because they take a little while to do that. They'll take a number of years to get that height and width. So I've left spaces in here for them to fill in. So once they get to their mature height and width, they're going to be pretty much a solid hedge, solid, short, colorful hedge all the way around in this curve. And that'll look really nice. So I'm planning for 5-6 years down the road. And then on the arborvitaes back there, like I said, those will get about anywhere between 10 to 12 feet tall. You've probably seen them. They stay fairly narrow. They only get, I think, about 4 feet wide. Yep. So they're going to get almost grown together, but not quite. So there'll be a little indentions in between each one. So I was real careful to measure those out to make sure that I planted them right, so that when they get that 4 foot width, there'll be a little indention kind of in between them, and they're not going to be all packed in together. So I left some pretty good spaces. So if you look at this landscape, pardon me, if you look at this landscape 6-7 years from now, you're going to see the azaleas all kind of grown together as a solid, colorful hedge. You're going to see the arborvitaes all kind of grown together, but with little indentions in between each one. And these guys are all going to stay the same. So I'm going to have that nice, beautiful step up that I need. So, or that I desired. So yeah, so that's basically the way to lay out plants. So you got to make sure that you are giving plenty of spacing, width-wise, plenty of spacing height-wise, where you're not covering up something that you've planted behind it. And you want to kind of figure out, just stand back, figure out what design are you looking for, what end product are you looking for, and plant for that. And plant for what it's going to look like 5-6 years down the road once the plant matures. So that's basically a good idea on that. And then as far as ground cover, another thing you want to look at is what kind of ground cover do you want to use that you put down on top of your weed barrier that you put down. I use a cloth weed barrier, of course, because otherwise it's just a big pain trying to pull weeds all the time. But in this particular instance, I've used pine straw. I've still got to replenish the pine straw for the summer in this area. We're just now coming out of winter time. It's beginning of April, so I've got to get the pine straw in here, but I'm using pine straw for mine. I have used mulch in the past. I've used rocks, so you can use any kind of rocks that you want for your planting bed. You can use any kind of mulch. Mulch comes in a number of different colors. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is what kind of product you want to use. Keep in mind, if you use mulch, sometimes that has a tendency to float, especially when the heavy rains, especially if you're on a slope. So if you're on a slope with small pebbles and mulch, you're going to have to put in some kind of edging. So that's another thing to remember. I usually use pine straw because I don't need, that way I don't have to put in any kind of edging. But as you can see from this job, I've used rocks and mulch combination. This was a house I did in Florida, and you can see what that looks like. So mulch, pine straw, rocks, whatever for the ground cover. Just depends on what effect you're looking for. You can have a mixture in your yard, but as far as being able to lay out the plants properly, you want to make sure you get the smaller plants in the front and step up the plants in height, in mature height, and don't worry about what they look like when you first plant them, because they're not going to look like that in 6 or 7 years. When they get mature, they're going to widen, they're going to get higher, and you don't want to cover something up. As you can see from this project, this is the front yard of this same yard that I'm sitting in now, and this is it when it was all nothing but just, took out 22 trees. That's basically what the yard looked like. And then in this, I've laid out the plants a little bit, measured out, trying to get them laid out properly. And this is what it looks like in the finished product. And then from the other side also. So yeah, so look at the type of design that you're wanting to have a finished product look like. Pick the plants that you want based on these fact cards, as far as the height and the widths that you want, and the colors and things like that, and lay them out to where you've got plenty of spacing width-wise, and also make sure you don't put something bigger in front of something that's going to be smaller, and you don't have to, want to have to move it. And be sure and save these fact cards for later down the road to refer to, because they are really handy to have and hold on to. Get you over to our easy do-it-yourself landscaping tip of the day. It's time for the easy do-it-yourself landscaping tip of the day. And today it's going to be about watering. Everybody knows that plants need water to be happy and healthy. But how you water and when you water can make a big difference. So I'm going to share a couple of tips with you on that. Number one, plants don't really like to have water sitting on their leaves overnight and not drying off, because that can cause disease and make a healthy plant unhealthy over time. So if you're going to water the plants with a sprinkler system or a hose, be sure and do that early in the morning. That's the best time to do it. You don't want to do it in the evening or at nighttime when the water is going to sit on the leaves all night. You want to do it early in the morning An hour or two before sunrise is the best time to do it. You don't have to get out there with a flashlight, trying to water them in the dark. But when the sun's still on the horizon, hadn't gotten high in the sky, that's the best time to get out and water them. If you have a sprinkler system, just preset it to come on at like 5 a.m. every morning and water everything. That way it's done by the time the sun gets up high, and the plants will be able to enjoy that water for a little while without it sitting on it overnight, and then it'll evaporate off the leaves. The other tip is, whenever I water, I always water with a sprinkler, and I also carry a pitcher with me, because what I normally do, and these, I'm going to give you an example, watering these lilies. It's still early April, so they haven't bloomed yet, but they're nice and bushy, getting ready to bloom here in the next 30 days or so. So I'll usually spray them a little bit, give them a little bit of spray, and as you can see, a lot of plants will direct the water when it hits the leaves down into the plant. Lilies will do that. A lot of palms will do that. If you water the palms, you'll see the water directing down in there. Some plants don't really like to get sprayed with water that much. Roses are an example. Rose bushes are better to be watered down at the base instead of spraying a bunch of water on top of them. That can cause black spot and diseases like that. But lilies really like it, as long as you don't, beat them to death with it. So turn the hose on, medium velocity, I guess. Spray them. You can see it going down in there. So I give them a good water spraying like that, and then I'll take a pitcher, usually a full pitcher like this, full of water. I'll fill it up. I've already filled this up most of the way, so you don't have to stand here and watch me fill the whole thing up. It only takes a few seconds. And then I'll go around each one of the plants and get a good, nice watering down at the base. That way I know that all that water is getting down into the root system, down into the ground, and not evaporating. Because if you just spray the plants like this, it's really not getting that much down into the root system, especially on plants that don't direct the water down into them. Plus, a lot of that's going to evaporate. You're going to lose most of that water to evaporation from the wind, from the sun, and things like that. So give them a good spraying. Give them a good watering down at the base with a pitcher. Go on to the next one and go all the way around. And you'll have happy, healthy plants. Make sure you don't water them at night, in the evening time. Best time to water is in the morning. If you can't do it early in the morning, do it during the day. But if you're using the pitcher and pouring it down into the root system, you don't have to worry about the evaporation that much anyway. So that's our easy do-it-yourself landscaping tip of the day. All right, well, hopefully you found that tip helpful. I enjoyed bringing it to you. And I appreciate you watching the video. If you liked the video, if you found it helpful, be sure and hit that like button. Be sure and subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video. And check out some of these other videos. This is a couple of videos here, and then we have a lot more on the channel on all kinds of different subjects. So we look forward to hearing from you. Send us a comment, send us an update on, or any questions you have, update on anything you have on your landscape project, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks for watching.